Most people think Norway is just a quiet, snowy country. But when it comes to the Winter Olympics, they are absolute titans of the ice. Historically, they don't just compete in speed skating, they dominate it. We're talking about athletes who carve through ice at 35 miles per hour on blades as thin as a chef's knife. It's a sport of pure, explosive power. They've been masters of the oval since the 1920s, with nearly 90 medals in speed skating alone. They are the ice titans that every other nation fears. But as good as they are on the ice, they are even better on the snow. Cross-country skiing is their national religion. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just people walking on sticks, right? Wrong. Cross-country is one of the most physically punishing sports on the planet. It's not flashy like snowboarding or high-flying like ski jumping, but it is intense. These athletes have the highest aerobic capacity of any humans on Earth. They ski until their lungs burn and their legs turn to jelly, then they do it for another 20 miles. It's why they have a record-shattering 129 medals in this sport alone. They don't just have endurance, they have a 1,000-year-old stubbornness that says, the colder it gets, the better we perform. To understand where this intensity comes from, you have to realize that in Norway, skiing wasn't a sport, it was a weapon. 800 years ago, Norway was being torn apart by a brutal civil war. The future of the entire kingdom rested on one person, a tiny, 18-month-old baby prince named Håkon. His enemies were closing in, and his only hope was a group of rebels known as the Birkebeiners. In the dead of winter in 1206, two of their toughest warriors, Torstein Skjævla and Skjærvaldskrukkoka, grabbed the infant prince and stepped out into a terrifying mountain blizzard. They didn't have a map. They didn't have heated gear. They just had wooden skis and a mission. They skied 55 kilometers, 35 miles, across two mountain ranges in a howling gale to bring the child to safety. That baby grew up to be King Håkon IV, the man who ended the Civil War and led Norway into its golden age. But here is the coolest part. Norway has never forgotten those two men. Every year, thousands of people compete in the Birkebeiner, one of the most grueling ski races on Earth. And there's a catch. Every single racer, from the pros to the hobbyists, must carry a 3.5 kilograms backpack. Why? Because that is the exact weight of the baby prince. You aren't just racing against the clock. You are symbolically carrying the future of your country on your back through the snow. The Birkebeiners didn't just save a prince. They proved that in Norway, being outdoors in the cold isn't a chore. It's where you find your freedom. They call it friluftsliv. It's the idea that humans belong in the open air, no matter how brutal the weather. And that philosophy is exactly how they raise their children today. To a Norwegian, friluftsliv. It's not just a hobby, it's a spiritual requirement. It's the belief that being in nature isn't just something you do on the weekend. In most countries, we baby-proof our living rooms. In Norway, they baby-proof the outdoors. It is perfectly normal to see a line of strollers parked outside in minus 10 degrees Celsius weather with babies napping inside. They want their kids to be comfortable in the elements before they can even walk. By the time these kids are 5, many are in outdoor kindergartens. They spend almost their entire day in the forest, climbing trees and playing with sticks in the rain. They aren't training for the Olympics yet. They are just learning to be resilient. In Norway, they have a saying, "There is no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing." This philosophy creates a massive competitive advantage. They aren't trying to scout the next gold medalist. They are simply making sure every single person in their country falls in love with the snow. Because they focus on the joy of being outdoors rather than the pressure of a trophy, almost 90% of their population stays active in sports for life. Norway doesn't have to find talent. Their entire society is the talent pool. They have an army of people who are just as comfortable on a ski slope as they are in their own living rooms. You'd think a team called the attacking Vikings would fuel themselves on raw steak and mountain water. But Norway's secret weapon is actually the taco. Believe it or not, Norway is the #2 consumer of tacos per capita in the entire world, trailing only Mexico itself. In Norway, fredagstaco, or Taco Friday, is a national religion. It doesn't matter if you're a student, the CEO of a tech firm, or an Olympic gold medalist. On Friday night, you are eating tacos. But for the Olympic team, this isn't just a cheat meal. It's a mandatory part of their chemistry. Every week, the world's best skiers, skaters, and jumpers gather at their training center to build their own tacos. They sit at the same tables, eat the same food, and talk. Not just about sports, but about life. This ritual is how they enforce their most famous rule: no jerks allowed. In most countries, the superstar gets a private suite and a personal chef. In Norway, even if you have 5 gold medals, you share a hotel room and you wait in line for the salsa just like the rookies. They believe that one jerk can ruin 20 people. If you're a diva, you're out. This creates a culture of radical transparency. Because they eat together and trust each other, the veterans actually teach the rookies their secrets. If the number 1 skier finds a better way to wax their skis, they don't hide it, they share it over a taco. They've realized that if you lift your teammate up, they will push you to be even faster. Don't make a YouTube about tacos when you're hungry. To the rest of the world, Norway and Sweden are neighbors. To each other, they are 2 brothers who have been locked in a 1,000-year duel for the soul of the North. On the Olympic stage, that brotherhood turns into a war. In Norway, they have a saying: "It doesn't matter if I win, as long as the Swede loses." This isn't a mean-spirited rivalry. It's a high-stakes game of anything you can do, I can do better. If a Swedish skier invents a new technique, the Norwegians will spend all night in the wax room trying to perfect it. This rivalry is the whetstone that keeps the Viking blades sharp. Without Sweden, Norway wouldn't be half as fast. But here is the real secret. When the race is over and the medals are handed out, the rivalry melts away. Why? Because the Norwegian model isn't built on hating the enemy. It's built on loving the sport. They are a country of only 5.5 million people, yet they own the winter. Not because they have better genes, but because they have a better tribe. They are the people who carried a prince through a blizzard, who nap in the snow, and who share their winning secrets over a plate of tacos. They don't just win because they are the strongest. They win because they refuse to leave anyone behind in the cold. So, next time you see a tiny red flag at the top of an Olympic podium, remember, that gold medal wasn't won on the ice. It was won 20 years ago in a forest in the rain with a stick and a smile.